Come on. You can do it. Keep going. Keep going. High, 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 high. Come on. Here we go. Nice, easy glide in between them. Go, Tater Bob, go. Watch out for these two guys. Let's see if we can thread the needle. Tater Bob. Oh, no. Tater Bob. Hi, guys. Welcome to Valor Code. What we're going to go over today is how the bat code works. And we're going to take a look at two hacks. Squishy the Octopus and Tater Bob. Let's have some fun. Okay, now let's see how this code works. This is the bat sprite. Just bat 2. And remember, the first thing I told you we were going to have to make it do is we're going to have to make him flap. That's this bit of code right here. It does two things. At the beginning of the game, we need to put the bat someplace. And so I put it right over here, which is left of the center line. So x is minus 120 and y is 0. Then we go into a forever loop here. Let's see if I can make this a little larger for you. We go into this forever loop, and all we're going to do is we're going to go to the next costume. Then we throw in a little bit of a weight, otherwise the wings flap too fast. So let me show you what I mean. There's two costumes for the bat, one with the wings up, one with the wings down. Every time it goes through that loop and executes the command next costume, it goes from this one to this one and then this one to this one. Every time through, it changes back and forth. What happens when this code is executed is the bat should look like it's flapping his wings. Let's see how that works. We can just click on this to try just this little piece of code out. Just click on it once. And there you go. The bat's flapping its wings. It's changing back and forth in between costumes. Okay, if you click it again, it'll stop. Now, the second thing I told you we needed to do for the bat is create gravity. Okay, that's this guy over here. We'll move him more toward the center. Now, what we want there is another forever loop. And here, gravity does pull you down. And so we want to change y by a negative number. And you don't want it too big, otherwise he goes off the screen. But you want it to be a little bit. He should just kind of float down. All right, and we add a little bit of a delay so it doesn't happen too fast. So let's try this one out and see how it works. Oops. Now they're both working. Stop this one. And stop this one. Now get him back to where he started. That's why I put this statement in there, because now I can always find him. Let's turn that one off. The other thing we want is, okay, so we have him flapping. We have gravity slowly making him go down. Now, when the space bar gets pressed, and you can really pick any key. I just use the space bar since it's big and I can find it easily. Then you want to change y by a positive number. Why? Because he's going to go up. Now, how did I pick 30 and how did I pick 0.1 seconds? I tried it. I experimented. And you should too, until you get numbers that do what you want them to do. So let's try this one. So every time I press the space bar, he goes up. Let's turn this one on. Okay, so every time I press the space bar, he goes up, otherwise gravity is pulling him down. All right, let's turn them all on. So now he's flapping, gravity's pulling him down. And that looks about right. Again, play with the numbers, see what works best for you. Now I'm going to turn this one off, I'm going to turn this one off, I'm going to turn this one off. Actually, we just hit the big stop button. Let's talk about the ground. Let's go over to the ground, see what we have there. Now the ground is actually pretty simple. All you want there, we want to say if the bat is touching, then we stop the game. right? When the bat hits the ground, the game's over. So the way to read this is if the bat is touching the ground, then stop everything. All. That means you end the program. Remember I told you this was going to be a program where we were going to use if statements? This is how you use them. Here's the decision. Here's the thing you're sensing. So you're sensing whether or not the bat is touching this sprite that's highlighted over here. If it is, then you do what's inside the if statement. Let me know if you have any questions. Now, finally, the pipe. And one of the more complicated things that we do is over here. We also want the game to be over if the bat touches the pipe, right? That's part of the game. So again, we use the same kind of an if statement inside a forever loop because you're always sensing, you're always checking. If the bat is touching, now which sprite is highlighted? The pipe. Then stop the game. All. That's just repeating what you did with the ground. Now, the tricky part comes when we have the pipe move. We have to have the pipe move. That's how the game works. So, let's break this up. The first thing you need to do is position the pipe to begin with. I'm going to put the pipe, remember X goes left and right, Y goes up and down. We're going to position the pipe at 300. So let's see what happens when this is run. This is where it starts. Okay, you notice it goes up and down every time I click it? That's this second part. Remember, Y is the up and down part. So we want the pipe to go, we want the hole to go up and down. So what we do is we just move the pipe up and down. There you go. See the pipe moving up and down? I'll show you how to make the hole for the pipe in a minute. So every time we pre-position it at 300 and we pick a random number for the center point of the pipe between -75 and 100, you can play around with these numbers, but it should be a large enough spread that the hole moves quite a bit. Inside this forever loop, remember we want the pipe to move. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the pipe move to the left. Now this is the positive side for X. So if we want the pipe to move to the left, we have to change it a little bit every time it goes through this loop negatively. We have to go minus. So we change X by -4. Now let's see. Let me take this out and stick this up here and see how this works. So what this should do, right? And then it should go. Just stop there. Every time I click it, it should start on the right and just go to the left. And the hole should be in a different place every time. All right, that's how that works. Now all that does is it just moves the pipe to the left. And you want to pick a number that gives you a nice smooth motion and that isn't too fast or too slow. Now we also want to check when the pipe gets to the end over here, we want it to restart back over here and go through again and again and again and again. That's how the game works. So what we'll do is we need to create an if statement that senses when the pipe gets over here far enough past the bat that we tell it to go back to the beginning. So the beginning is just this statement right here. So we take that statement, we put it inside an if-then statement, and then we have the if statement check to see if the X position, the left and right position, is less than -100. Remember, over here, X is a negative number. X is minus. So if the left-right position, the X position, is less than minus 100, then we want to move it back over here to a plus number and move the pipe up and down so that the hole changes position. Just like that. See, when it gets over here, it moves back over here. And that's how the game is played. That's how you get the pipe to move. All right, so we're going to stop this. Now, when you put all that together, okay, we're going to actually try playing the game here. When you put all that together, gravity's pulling the bat down. When I press the space bar, it moves the bat up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Go, 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 go bat. And the hole changes position every single time. There you go. And let's check to see what happens when the bat hits the ground. Good, the game stops. Let's restart. Let's check to see what happens when the bat hits the pipe. The game stops. It works. Great job. I promised you I'd tell you how to make the hole in the pipe. So here's how we do it. We're going to create a new sprite. We're going to build it ourselves. And you can use a line or you can use a rectangle. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the rectangle here. I want the pipe gray, so it looks about the same. Now I'm going to try creating the rectangle. Here we go. There's my rectangle. Oops, there's nothing in the middle. This is where our fill tool comes in handy. You click on that, point inside the rectangle, click, and bang. You have got a gray rectangle. Now, how do you make the hole? Well, you grab your select tool, you pick a section in the middle of the pipe, and you press delete. Now you have a pipe with a hole in it. It's that easy. One thing I'd like to do is I'm going to convert this guy to vector real quick. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to stretch it, not too far. And I'm going to stretch it this way. Now, hopefully the pipe won't have these funny looking edges to it. This new pipe anyway. All right, so now we have this pipe. We'll go back to scripts. Now, there's no code for this guy. Now, I'm going to show you an easy way to move code from one sprite to another. All right? Pro tip. You click on this guy. You right click on this. Select duplicate, and there's a new one. And you move it over here. Drop it in. Now let's see if it's over there. Yep, it's over here. And then let's move the other piece over. Right click, duplicate, and drop it in. And there's the other piece of code. That's how you copy from one sprite to another. Now, for fun, let's just get rid of this pipe, and let's see what our new gray pipe does. Let's go large, play the game again. Let's see if, oops, what went wrong? Anybody have an idea? Okay, so when it went over this way, it stopped there. So let's check this guy out. It just goes over and stops. Why do you think that happens? Is it because it never reaches this number? Let's experiment. Let's pick that number. Okay, this is how you troubleshoot. And the idea is you make it work. Okay, so it really doesn't go past the bat. So maybe what we need to do is we'll put a different number in there while it's running. Let's try minus 50. Let's see how this one works. I still have some showing at the bottom, but that's okay. All right, so it's going far enough now. Perfect. Now let's stop this. So a little example of debugging your code there. Oh, come on, bat. Boy, that was a high hole. There you go. Let's see if it hits, it stops. Perfect. All right. The next section is on hacking the bat. Hi, folks. This is a section on hacking the bat. Now, as you can see from what we have over here, quite a number of things have changed. First of all, we added the aquarium backdrop, or one of the ocean backdrops from the Scratch library. And also from the Scratch library, we added Squishy the octopus and a couple of sharks. Now, the idea here is we replace the pipe with a couple of sharks. So we highlight Squishy. It's pretty much the same code as we used for the bat. Okay, so we just moved it over. Let's make this a little larger. Same code for the bat. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is there's no ground. What we did is we added two sharks. Each shark has code that's very similar to the pipe, but since we want to make the sharks look kind of mean and nasty, what we did is we took a little bit of code from the bat, the next costume. Let's look at one of the sharks here. And we're constantly switching back and forth between Shark A and Shark B. These are its two costumes. Actually, if you really look at the shark, there's the shark. First things first. The shark, when you first put it in here, it's huge. So what you have to do is you grab the shrink button up here at the top, right up here. You grab it and you make him about the size that you want. Okay. But he's facing the wrong way. How do we deal with that? Well, we go over to his costumes. The shark's facing the wrong way. Up here, you have some tools. This one is flip left and right. Let's see what happens. Whoa, now he's facing the right way. And we just want him to open and close his mouth. So this one, now he's facing the right way too. Now the kind of sad shark here, we don't want him for this. So you see this X? He's gone. And so now we've created another shark just like the other two. So we're going to get rid of you since I don't need three. So this guy, we're going to switch back and forth between these costumes. Let's look at one of them. Scripts. Now, let's see what happens when we just test out the next costume part. Okay, the shark up here, he looks hungry. Okay, we'll stop that. Now we also pulled in, Now we also pulled in the bit of code from the pipe that when the flag is clicked, again, we go in a forever loop and we're trying to figure out if we're touching the octopus. Now, not the bat, the octopus. Then we stop everything. Lastly, we pull in from the pipe. When the flag is clicked, we give them a starting position. Now again, you're going to have to play with the numbers just a little bit. And what I decided to do here is, remember, the y equals 0 line is right in the middle here. So I said, okay, I'm going to have one shark kind of moving up and down in the top half and one shark moving up and down in the bottom half. So in the top half, y is positive. So I put in minus 25 and plus 100, minus 25. Sorry, I put in plus 25 and plus 125. And then again, we want him to move to the left. So X changes by a negative number. And when they get past the octopus, we want them to start over again. Let's walk through this slowly. Let's break it up. Let's see what happens here. Here, this shark should stay in the top half, be right about over here, and should move up and down every time we click it. All right, that's where he should start, right at that edge, 240. Now, he should move around in the top half only every time I click on this. Okay, that works. Now, we want him always to move to the left. That's the change X by -4. Remember, changing X moves it to the left. And then we want to check if it's gone far enough past the octopus. We want to go back to this starting position and change where it is up and down. So we'll put this on here. And let's see if this guy works. All right. He won't be changing costume because we don't have that on, but he should be going. And as soon as he gets to the left edge, he should pop back to the right edge. Okay, cool. That works. Okay, we can turn that off. Now let's try. Let's see if it works with the costume. So now he should be biting. That's what we want. All right. So we'll turn that off. We'll turn that off. Okay, that shark works. Now, then we do the same for shark 2, exact same code. If you have the code right for one shark, I'm going to show you a fast way to create a second shark exactly like it. All we have to do, and I'm going to use shark 2 as an example. Let's say I want shark 3. I want 3 sharks in here, and I want them all doing exactly the same thing. You right-click on the shark, pick duplicate, and now I have a third shark. And guess what? That shark's code is exactly the same. The costumes are exactly the same. All right? We'll get rid of him. Now, let's see how this game actually plays. Full screen. And start. Uh-oh. Now, this is kind of interesting because Squishy can go in between. He can go over. Oops, I think I'll go over these guys. Go over them again. Can he make it in between? Ah, he didn't make it. So he can go over the sharks or under the sharks. Sorry, Squishy. Okay, now we're going to take a look at Tater Bob. So Tater Bob is a sprite. It's actually a hacked sprite. So what I did is I took a picture of a potato, cleaned it up, so just the potato was left. I took the wings from one of the bats, both the up and down version that was kind of the same color as Tater Bob. I added an eye and sort of a kind of a weird little smile there, but it was good enough for what I was trying to show. I created Tater Bob. Tater Bob, when we go to scripts, he should, there he goes. Tater Bob's flapping. He's airborne. And when the space key is pressed, let's see if this works. Okay, so he goes up. And gravity should work just the same. I copied most of this from the bat. So, yep. Okay, Tater Bob flies. And when you press the space bar, he goes up. Otherwise, he slowly drifts to the ground. Okay, so we're going to stop Tater Bob. Now, I changed the color of the ground down here. I used a little bit different of a backdrop. And I decided to come up with a different challenge for Tater Bob. I added in some airplanes instead of a pipe or sharks. for each airplane, it's pretty much the same code as for the pipe. Again, now if they're touching Tater Bob, then we want the game to stop. No problem. Over here, again, I played around with the numbers just a little bit so that the planes were doing what I wanted them to do. And I have one plane patrolling the top half, positive numbers, one plane patrolling the bottom half, and as you'll see over here, that one has negative numbers. I should enlarge this again. Let's move this up. This one, negative numbers, and this airplane, positive numbers all the way around. What I tried this time, though, was to make it a little bit trickier. This plane, the first one, starts up here at 300 and flies all the way through. Okay, that's great. The other one, I kind of wanted to offset them a little bit. So the other one starts at 200. Initial position was different. So what I was trying to do is stagger the planes a little bit so they wouldn't arrive always at exactly the same time. Okay? All I changed was this statement here, where they started. And this one starts at 300. So, excuse me, when I click this guy, they should be offset a little bit, which, I don't know, makes the game just a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to stop this one, and now we're going to try flying Tater Bob. My friend, the flying potato. Here we go. See, the planes are offset a little bit. Tater Bob is like huge. Could you imagine if you were in an airplane and you saw a potato fly by? Amazing. Okay, go high, Bob. Go high. Go high. He's a little bit off the screen, but that's all right. There we go. Go, Tater Bob. Go. Now, what gets tricky is if you try... Oh, no, I'm not going to thread that needle. Let's go. Come on, Tater Bob. Can I thread this one? Ah! Almost. That's Tater Bob. Okay, that's it for today. I'm going to do a video tomorrow that shows you how you can hack some sprites. For example, I'll show you how I created Tater Bob out of a picture, a little bit of drawing, and parts of another sprite. We'll have some fun with that. Talk to you in class. Subscribe and give us a like. See you later, guys. Bye.